All right, let's get right to it. Today, we're in the ring for what could be the biggest tech showdown of the year. Google's Gemini 3 going head-to-head with OpenAI's ChatGPT 5. We've got two absolute titans battling it out for the AI crown, and we're going to break down every single round.
Hey, wow, right out of the gate, we've got a total shocker. I mean, look at this. We all know ChatGPT has been the undisputed champ, right? But its momentum, well, it's kind of hitting a wall. Its user base grew by just 6%. Meanwhile, Gemini's user growth exploded by a massive 170%. This isn't just a small challenge. This is a huge shift in the AI world, and you gotta believe it's a code red moment for the team at OpenAI.
Okay, so before that first bell rings, let's do the tail of the tape. Who exactly are these heavyweights? What are they really designed to do? And this is where you really see their core DNA. On one side, you've got Gemini 3, which is basically the multimodal engine. Think of it this way. It was built from the ground up to understand everything at once. Text, images, audio, video, you can throw a whole library at it and it gets it. Then, in the other corner, you have ChatGPT 5.1, the agentic workhorse. This one is all about action. It's fine-tuned to generate solid code, actually use tools, and have these really polished, human-like chats. So it's a real clash of styles, raw, massive understanding versus refined, practical execution.
All right, round one, the battle on paper. Let's look at the raw stats, the standardized tests, and see who has the edge. And honestly, on paper, it's not even close. It's a near total domination. We're talking about the hardest academic benchmarks, the toughest reasoning tests, and Gemini 3 isn't just winning, it's scoring absolute knockouts. In complex math, understanding video, even in these crazy hard exams, all the data points to one clear thing. Gemini is just the more powerful model.
Yeah, the performance on paper is so good that one analyst just put it bluntly, if you just look at the benchmarks, it looks like game over. But we all know that's not the whole story, right? What happens in the lab doesn't always happen in the real world.
So for round two, we're throwing them into the real-world gauntlet. Forget the theory, let's see how they actually handle real-life tasks. First up, a really tough test. Build a working 3D game from just a single prompt. And this is where Gemini's raw power just shines. It spit out a prototype that was just better. Visually superior, more complete. I'm talking actual sound effects, better graphics, even a working power-up system, all from one go. For getting a prototype up and running fast, wow, it's in a league of its own. But then we switched gears. We asked them to do some creative brainstorming for new app features. And this is where Gemini kind of tripped up. The ideas it gave were, clever, but like the user said, they were very AI ideas. They were cool from a technical standpoint, but they just didn't have that human touch, that gut feeling for what a real person would actually use. ChatGPT, though? Totally different story. It felt less like a machine and more like you were talking to a sharp, savvy business partner. Its ideas were practical, they were smart, and you could use them right away. It's like it didn't just read the words in the prompt, it understood the goal behind them. The ideas felt like they came from a human. But just when you think you've got it figured out, Gemini comes back and lands another haymaker, all thanks to its multimodal powers. We threw a real-world media editing task at it, editing a YouTube thumbnail, and it was flawless. It changed the text, resized icons, swapped out the entire background, all without messing up the original image. This is something most AI image tools completely choke on. It's just an incredible, incredible display of visual intelligence. So, okay, we've got this great back and forth, a real slugfest of different strengths and weaknesses. But just as we're about to go to the judges' scorecards, a surprise challenger enters the ring. And this one changes the entire fight. So let's ask a totally different question. We've seen them do creative stuff, we've seen them code, but what about a task where the stakes are literally life and death? What if the most important fight isn't actually between these two big AIs at all? Okay, so this is an ECG, an electrocardiogram, and the task is dead simple. Look at this image and tell us if the patient is having a heart attack. There is zero room for error here. Accuracy is everything. So we gave this exact image to both models. And the results are just staggering. Gemini? It was accurate only 30% of the time. ChatGPT did better at 66%. But then, look at this, a specialist AI. This one's called ECG Buddy, which is only trained to do this one thing. It hit 97% accuracy. It's not even in the same ballpark. It's not a competition.
And this shows you something so important. When the stakes are really high, these general-purpose giants get absolutely crushed by a specialist.
So, where does all this leave us? Well, it's time for the final scorecard. But here's the twist. We're not going to declare a single winner. Instead, what we're going to do is give you a really practical guide for when you should use each of these tools.
Okay, here's the breakdown. Think of it like this. You reach for Gemini 3 when you need that raw multimodal power. So for deep research, whipping up a quick prototype, or doing any kind of media generation and editing, Gemini's your tool. You turn to ChatGPT 5.1 when you need a partner. For strategic brainstorming, for creating polished writing, for getting code that's ready to go, that's ChatGPT's sweet spot. And for those super-critical, high-stakes jobs, like a medical diagnosis, you always go with a specialist AI that was built for that one job.
And there's one last really important thing to think about: the price. All that raw power from Gemini 3, well, it comes at a cost. For the same task, it can be about 60% more expensive than ChatGPT 5.1. And if you're a business using this at scale, that is a huge difference you absolutely have to consider.
You know, when you look at this whole showdown, it really points to a bigger truth about where AI is heading. The game isn't about finding the one single best AI anymore. The real win, the real advantage, is knowing which tool is right for which job. So the question we should all be asking is no longer which AI is the best, but rather, what's the right AI for the job I need to do right now?